The evolving race to be Texas Attorney General is a crowded place. A hefty field drawn by the perceived vulnerability of the current office holder, Ken Paxton, who is still under indictment for alleged securities fraud and more recently the target of a federal bribery and abuse of power investigation triggered by his once trusted lieutenants. Land Commissioner George P. Bush, former state Supreme Court Justice Eva Guzman, State Representative Matt Krause, and potentially Congressman Louis Gohmert are looking to dislodge Paxton in the Republican primary. Panel, despite his well-documented problems, Paxton is still popular with much of the GOP base. Is that true, Charles?
Yeah, it's certainly true. And I think, Gohmert, if he gets into the race, and Krause, who has gotten into the race but may not stay in the race, are in there to pull from Paxton's base. They're pulling from that same conservative base. The only difference is they don't have the name ID, the money, the power of incumbency, or the endorsement of Donald Trump. And so I think without that, it stifles their campaigns a little bit. I think Paxton's still wildly popular among the grassroots activists in the base, the folks who are going to come out in the Republican primary. And Eva Guzman and George P. just don't really excite them, and actually turns them off to some extent when you're talking about that right wing of the base. And so I think Paxton is kind of coasting towards a re-election, but not without a runoff, maybe.
Mark Jones, you agree with that? What do we got, 3 months until the primary?
Especially if Gohmert gets in the race and Krause stays in the race, then a runoff is looking increasingly likely. If both of them end up not running, it's just Guzman or Bush, then Paxton might have the ability to win in the first round. But I think right now we'd have to assume he's going to be the Republican standard bearer because, as Charles was mentioning, he's wildly popular among the Republican base and he has that coveted Trump endorsement. And then when he goes to the general election, he is the weakest member of the Republican herd and the easiest for a Democrat to knock out. But until the Democrats recruit a top-tier candidate to run against them, someone like Julian Castro or Joaquin Castro, he may very well continue to be Attorney General for 4 more years, despite the fact that, as was mentioned, he's under FBI investigation, he's been indicted, and there are a whole host of personal and financial issues surrounding him.
So the Democrats in this race are simultaneously criticizing Paxton as hard as they can, but also cheering for him in the Republican primary. Is that right, Mustafa?
Absolutely. Look, if you look historically, the race that flips a state is not the governor, lieutenant governor, or senator. It is the attorney general race. That one particular race has been hallmarked as when a state flips. And the strong candidate that's coming out of the Valley, Rochelle Garza, is someone who's taken on Paxton in the courtroom and has won. She's very fiery. She's got hunger, and I think that people are going to learn more and more about her in the coming days and weeks.
Jasper, have you been able to figure out why Guzman and George P. Bush haven't gained any traction?
They're primarily making the argument, it seems, that, at least from Bush's perspective, that Paxton is both, the most beatable Republican if elected. So, trying to make the pitch that we don't want to risk losing this office to the Democrats. And then also just, it feels like the kind of the focus on the scandal, emphasizing the various legal issues that Paxton is having, just is going absolutely nowhere with Republican voters, at least. Or, it's still early. We've got a lot of months left until the primary election actually happens. So we'll see if that starts to, if they start to make any inroads as we get closer to March. But at the moment, it just seems like that's not resonating in any way, shape, or form.
Kira, would you say this race is the best chance for Democrats to win statewide since Bob Bullock did it back, what was it, mid-90s?
I think 94 was the last time you had a Democratic statewide victory. I would say it's the most likely opportunity. And if you're whoever the prospective nominee for Attorney General on the Democratic side is, you have to be happy that Beto O'Rourke is announced for governor, simply because even though, odds are he will fall short in the race against Abbott, his, well-known brand among Democratic voters, his ability to fundraise will likely lift the boat enough that a Democrat running for Attorney General against an unpopular and damaged Ken Paxton will actually have a shot to win. And it's probably the Democrats' best shot to pick up a seat statewide next year.
Real quick, Mark, what are the chances the Biden Justice Department comes out with their findings on the FBI investigation before the primary?
I would say probably not before the primary. If I were the Biden administration, I would actually come out with those right after the runoff, because the goal would be to have a damaged Paxton, who's under indictment, going into the general election, but without the Republican Party being able to replace him at the polls.
Going to leave it there. Up next.